Welcome or welcome back to the Uncomfortable is Okay podcast. I'm your host, Chris Desmond, and this is a show where we try and figure out how to get better at doing the hard stuff that makes life exciting. Today is another short little strategy episode, and it's all about fearless receiving. So, what is it? There are times in our life that help is exactly what we need. Sometimes it's when we get stuck on a problem. It can be when we want to go faster than we're currently going, or when we need some expertise. Or sometimes there are just those times where we do need a helping hand. And most people are rubbish at asking for help. This is usually because it makes us feel bad about ourselves. Sometimes we feel a sense of shame around asking ourselves the question, why should I need help with this? I should be able to do it myself. Or at other times we feel a sense of guilt. Is this fair for me to ask this person to give up something for me? And fearless receiving is asking for help despite these feelings. It's coming straight out and asking for what you need. It's not beating around the bush. It's not trying to guilt someone into doing it. It's not belittling your request for help. And it's not doing a half ask, where you only really ask for part of what you need. And fearless receiving is accepting no as an answer to your request for help. But even more so, it's accepting yes as a response to your request. But even more so, it's accepting yes as a response to your request. Allowing someone to help and then being grateful for the help that you receive. So where do you apply this strategy? Short answer is life. This strategy can and should be applied whenever you need it. Ask for help when you need it. Ask for help before you need it. Ask for help 3 weeks after you probably should have asked for it. But just go out and ask for help directly. So this strategy in action. I was watching an amazing TED Talk all about the art of asking by Amanda Palmer of the Dresden Dolls and Grand Theft Orchestra fame, which you should definitely watch, and I'll pop a link to it in the notes for this episode. And obviously with a title, The Art of Asking, there are a lot of stories that Amanda brings up about asking for help. And one really stuck out for me. It was when Amanda and her crew were on tour. She sent a message out on Twitter looking for a place to crash for the night. She got a reply, and she did this pretty frequently. And her and her crew ended up in a rundown area of Miami. And she stayed with a family who were reasonably poor, who didn't have a whole lot of stuff. And the family all slept on the couch so that Amanda and her crew could sleep in the beds. And this was a time where Amanda really experienced a huge sense of guilt around this and was asking herself the question, is this fair, what I've asked these people for? But waking up the next morning, the mother of the family pulled Amanda aside and told Amanda that her music had helped this lady's 18-year-old daughter so much, and that it was an honor for them to have stayed the night and been able to be in their presence. And if Amanda hadn't asked for and then accepted the help, that family would have never had that experience that they'll probably be talking about for the rest of their lives. So why does fearless receiving work? Why should we do this? Asking for help is difficult. It makes us feel vulnerable and it opens us up for rejection. Feeling vulnerable is obviously uncomfortable. It triggers off all our body's threat responses, which makes it really hard for us to do. But there are multiple reasons why we should go out and ask for help and then fearlessly receive it. Because firstly, when we receive help and work with someone else, we're much more likely to make greater progress than we would have by ourselves. Multiple studies show that working in tandem, we're more likely to work longer, solve more problems correctly, and feel less depleted and overwhelmed than if we're working by ourselves. Secondly, if we don't ask, often we won't receive help because others don't actually know that we need it. And somewhere between 75 and 90% of help received by colleagues at work is from directly asking them, which shows that we definitely need to be asking, because if we didn't ask, we'd only receive help maybe 10 to 20% of the time. And people are actually much more likely to help us than we would expect. One study showed that people offered to help strangers at a 48% higher rate than the help seekers expected, which is actually quite a lot. And if a stranger's going to help you more than you expect, so are people who care about you and are invested in how you do. And finally, asking someone for help gives people a chance to help, and humans love helping. In fact, people who help others are actually proven to be happier than those who don't. And by asking for help and receiving help, we give people the chance to be better people, to be happier. So, in summary, it's hard to ask for help, and often even harder for us to receive it. But through the act of asking for help, you connect with people. And when you connect with people, they want to help you. When you receive help, you're capable of creating so much more together than you would alone. Receiving help doesn't belittle you. In fact, it builds you up. So receive fearlessly. So this little strategy is out of a book that I'm writing at the moment called Get Out of My Comfort Zone, a guide to doing hard shit. It's a work in progress. It'll be out hopefully sometime in 2020. If you want to get a couple of strategies sent out to you, keep up to date with the stuff that I'm doing on the book, and get hooked up with some sweet deals when it does come out, then you can head over to getoutofmycomfortzone.com, pop your email address in there, and keep you up to date with all of those things. So that's getoutofmycomfortzone.com. While we're on the topic of asking for help, I've got a couple of asks for you. The first would be, if you found this episode at all helpful, I'd love it if you could share it with one of your friends, especially one of your friends that might benefit from it, that you think actually this person needs to ask for help more often. If you could share that out with one person, that would be absolutely amazing. And the second ask is actually, it's asking you to let me help you. So what I'd like to do is, I do a bit of coaching with people all about tackling challenges, setting up challenges for themselves, and obviously coming into the end of the year, it's kind of a good time to be thinking about, hey, if you do New Year's resolutions, or if you want to start, what are my New Year's resolutions? What do I want to achieve next year? Do some coaching around reducing overwhelm and building resilience and mental fitness as well. So if this sounds like something that you need, I'm opening up a few free initial coaching sessions to sit down with people and do a little bit of work about this stuff. So if you want a free coaching session with me, then send me an email, chris@chrisdesmond.nz. That's chris@chrisdesmond.nz. And let me help you. Thanks so much for getting uncomfortable with me this week.